Thanks so much for listening to No Lions Here with me, Big Panda. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to No Lions Here. My name is Big Panda, and I'm a recovering sex addict. Before we jump into today's solo episode, just want to give a shout out to my sponsor for this episode, Begin Again Institute. Their information is going to be in the description, as well as, an ad at some point in time in the show. So just want to give a big shout out to them. And thanks, Begin Again. I really appreciate the support. If you are listening on YouTube, definitely go check out Spotify. That's got our whole discography of, the whole catalog of all the episodes. If you're listening on Spotify, definitely go check out the YouTube channel. Give us a subscribe there as well. All the videos are there. Videos dropping daily, shorts. All the long form is on there as well. So definitely make sure to go check those out, guys. Also, too, been having somebody kind of post a little bit on the website recently, which I'm really grateful for. I think it's really cool that someone else is kind of posting on the website. So, again, that's nolionshere@gmail.com. Yeah, that's it. I'm so used to, pitching the email address, so it's kind of funny. So I got some exciting things going on right now. Some things are in the works. Got some guests lined up, so which I'm really excited about. I'm really trying to get into the space for betrayed partners and spouses, and also like family members, like other family members, whether that be like children or like adult children of addicts, and just kind of like the impact on them, and then what that journey looks like for, a betrayed spouse, also a family member that has been affected by this as well. So, because as we know, spouses aren't the only ones that are affected, especially if there's kids involved. These kids get, affected as well. So definitely, talking to some professionals, and then also some actual like betrayed spouses talking about coming on. So really excited for that. Got a couple guests coming on next week, some recovery coaches that I'm really looking forward to speaking with. So figure, let's get a solo episode in. I want to kind of fill you guys in on where I've been at with the treatment center and interning and things like that, because I really haven't touched on that much so recently. So definitely want to kind of get into that, because I was doing my hours the other week, and so I'm supposed to get 300 hours of interning, and I'm at like 195 hours. So I've got, 100 hours left, and I don't know, it's crazy. I mean, we're already in April of this year. So, time just flies by, whether you're having fun or not. So, in sitting down and like doing the math on that, it's the lights at the end of the tunnel. And, as of right now, I don't have a plan for what I'm going to do after. Because let's see. So once I finish my internship, I will graduate from the program, and then I will be able to go and test and get my certification, which will probably be around, I don't know, September-ish is kind of what they're telling us is when we can test. So, and then, after I test and get my certification, I'd love to take this into the field, and use this and start turning this kind of into a career. Now, the overall goal of all of this is to be able to do coaching, have a coaching business, whether that be, I'm seeing clients or I'm kind of contracted, whether by a treatment center or another coaching business, and then also having the podcast as well. And those are like my two main forms of income. So, it's definitely a goal for me. And I do believe that is, achievable, attainable. But as of right now, with 100 hours left, one, I'm really looking forward to just kind of being finished with it all. It definitely has added a lot to my plate. And, early on when I started interning back in January, it was really frustrating and overwhelming. I really feel like I kind of got I don't feel like, I mean, I know that I did. I got thrown into the fire essentially when it came to, the treatment center that I'm working at. And it was one of those things where like I went in, I interviewed for the internship, and they were like, "Hey, if you we want you if you'll, if you want to come on." And so originally the talks were, "Hey, like, so obviously I work full time. I have my weekends off. I have my 3-day weekends, Saturday, Sunday, Mondays." So I was kind of originally planning on looking at like, maybe doing some work on Mondays, Saturdays. And when I was talking to them about like scheduling and stuff, it was like, okay, hey, like you can come in on Saturday. My supervisor at the treatment center, she doesn't work Sundays or Mondays. So, but she is in on Saturdays. Now, there was already another intern that had kind of signed up for Saturday, but in the first initial talk, it was like, "Hey, Katie," that's the name of my supervisor, "are you okay with having 2 interns underneath you on Saturday?" And she was like, "Yeah, no problem at all." So I was like, "Okay, cool. Kind of, this is kind of what it's looking like for me. It's looking like potentially Saturday." Because at that point in time, Saturdays were pretty open for me. It was Sundays that I really came into the studio to either record or just get things ready for the week, posting videos, all of this kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I do in the background, um, other than just record. And so I was like, okay, cool. This works well for me. Well, then I got a call from not my supervisor, but her supervisor. And it was basically like, now he no longer works at the treatment center, but it was kind of like, all right, hey, so we don't have anybody that comes in on Sunday. So we're going to have you come in on Sunday. And it was kind of one of those things where like, people pleaser, afraid to like push back on anything. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's cool. I can do that. But the whole time in my head, I'm thinking, this is not what we originally talked about, right? I had an expectation. I had an expectation, and it did not go the way that I wanted it to go, right? Like I wanted Saturdays. I was like, I'll work Saturdays. I don't care. That's fine with me. But here instead, now I'm getting told I got to work on Sundays, all because they're kind of short staffed. Now, I'm an intern. I have not worked in this field, so I don't. I don't really know what to expect. I'm brand new at this. Yeah, I had done some classes, but classroom was great. You learn a lot. However, I'm more of like a hands-on, let me go out and do this type of learner. So honestly, getting thrown in the fire was, it's kind of, that's okay, I guess. Looking back on it now, that's kind of how I learned the best. But it definitely like caused a lot of frustration for me, a lot of internal conflict. So my first day there, so my supervisor's not even there, and it was like, okay, hey Alex, and the whole plan was me coming in, and basically they start their day with a huddle that's kind of led by the clients, talking about, what goals can you set, what are you grateful for, what goals can you set today. Also they give a chance to give shout outs to each other, like, and so it's really, so basically my job was, okay, hey, be in there with them for that, to answer any questions that they have, give them a heads up on the day to day. And then at 9 o'clock, from 9 to 11, I would run educational groups. So 2-hour groups on different topics relating to recovery, treatment, things like that. And so Sundays, of course, is the only day of the week where it's speaker's choice. There's all the other groups that they do, which are actually, quite a few throughout the week, is everything is, okay, hey, today's group education is on fear, anxiety, depression, relapse prevention, triggers. That's basically, it's said, hey, this is what, and then from there, the person giving the group then gets to go in and kind of decide how they want to go about it. Well, on Sundays is the only day that the person leading the group picks what the topic is and then gets materials and all things like that. So first day I'm there, they're like, all right, Alex, what you going to run group? And I'm like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never really been in this setting before, so no, I'm not going to do it. I would like to watch somebody else do it so that I can kind of get an idea of how things go. Well, then that day they were like, all right, well, we don't really have anything, so we're just going to watch a movie. And it was like, okay. So we sat and like watched the movie. And I told myself, like, I don't want to be the guy showing the video. Like, I don't want to be the guy showing a movie. I want to interact with them. So it was like, okay, what, all right, then, anxiety sets in and it's like, wow, okay, so now I got to come up with, essentially 5 different topics to spend 2 hours on. And, my supervisor, after that first week, I kind of shared some of this with her, and it was kind of like, okay, she was like, okay, well, you can do this, or this, and there were things that I don't know, like I couldn't really relate to. So I had to take a look at my own program and say, okay, Alex, well, what worked for you? What's something that you can pass along to them that, that you've got experience with? And the first thing that came to my mind was one of the first things that I ever got when I went out to Begin Again Institute back in 2021. And that was the feeling wheel. I know that you guys have heard me talk about this before. The feeling wheel for me has been just huge. I don't know if you can see that. I got that light on there. But basically, it's got all these different feels, right? So in the middle, the core one's mad, scared, joyful, powerful, peaceful, sad. And then from there, it really shoots out. And you kind of get to break it down a little bit more. And again, this has been huge. And this is actually, now this is a copy of the original one that I got from Begin Again. I lost my original one. However, I had taken a picture of it, and it was actually really cool because right before, so Saturday night, I had my home group meeting, and I've got this on my phone, and I send it to a lot of guys. I'm always kind of sending it out to people, like, hey, here's the feeling wheel. Here's the feeling wheel. And one guy actually printed it up and brought it to me after I had sent it to him. He had brought it to me at the meeting. He had printed it out and sent it to him and brought it in. And I was like, wow, this is really cool and perfect. Like, I'm going to take this in. I'm going to make copies of it. And okay, hey, you know what? Every morning in group, when I was in treatment, we pulled out our feeling wheel and we named 3 feelings. We named 3 feelings off the feeling wheel. And what I love about the feeling wheel, one, is it helps me pinpoint my feelings, right? Like, there's times where, okay, I'm mad, but what's really going on here? And then I get to go in and break it down. And then when I hit on what it is, like, I can feel it. Like, ooh, okay, yeah, I'm mad. I kind of thought maybe I was a little irritable, maybe a little frustrated. Oh, but actually I'm feeling hurt. Ooh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So what has happened to where I feel hurt? And then when I'm able to pinpoint my feelings and my emotions like this, it gives me a better idea of what I can do for myself to help work through those feelings. Now, sometimes it's simply like I just got to sit in it and I just have to feel it, which is uncomfortable. And then there's other times where, okay, hey, I can, I'm feeling lonely. Okay, I need to make a phone call. But then also, too, seeing that you can hold conflicting feelings and emotions at the same time. right? Like anxious, which is, a subset of scared. I can be scared, but also feel powerful and joyful at the same time as well. I can feel proud of myself, but also feel anxious. So it teaches me that, even my feelings aren't black and white, right? Again, as an addict, I like to make everything, it's all black and white. It always has been black and white for me. When in reality, there's a gray area that we operate in, most of the time. That is basically kind of life. So it's taught me that, hey, like I can feel conflicting emotions at the same time. Also, too, there's one of the things, and I kind of really push this when I talk about the feeling wheel, is that there's no such thing as a negative emotion. There's uncomfortable emotions, yes. There's no such thing as a negative emotion. Some of these emotions get labeled as negative, and in my mind, they are not negative. Are they uncomfortable? 100% yes. Are they negative? No. Because when I view these as negative, I view them as I should not have these. I am a bad person for being anxious, for being angry, for feeling stupid, ashamed, depressed, lonely. Like, these are natural human emotions. And as part of the human condition, we have all of these, and they serve a purpose. They are not there to be stuffed down and shamed. And I am not a bad person because I'm feeling, one of these uncomfortable emotions. Again, there's no negative. They're all our body's way of trying to tell us, hey, something's going on here, and there's an issue, right? And again, they're uncomfortable, but not negative so much. Again, because when I put that negative label on there, I want to get rid of them immediately because I should not be having these. And when I am in that place of this is negative, this is negative, so therefore I am negative because I'm having this. And then if this is negative and I am negative, well, then I need to do whatever I need to do to get rid of these feelings as soon as possible, which for me looks like stuffing down and really not doing what I need to do with them. And as we all know, and I've talked about on here before, is when I stuff these things down, they come out sideways, right? It may not be that day. It may not be the next day. For me, things are very much a slow burn. Something can happen 2 weeks ago that if I don't deal with that uncomfortable feeling, that it'll come out, maybe it'll be 2 weeks, maybe it's a week, maybe 2 weeks, whatever. It's a slow burn for me. I rarely ever jump from my outer circle straight into my inner circle. There is a progression there. There is, you go from your outer circle, say, I've got a feeling that I'm not dealing with because it's uncomfortable. So I'm in my outer circle. Well, then I'm not doing what I need to do for myself to work through and feel that feeling that, okay, now I'm starting to shift into my middle circle. Okay, now I'm getting deeper into my middle circle. Okay, now I'm really circling the drain of my inner circle, and boom. And again, that can take some time. It's almost not immediate for me. It definitely takes some time to get there. So I start at the treatment center, and I laugh, and I still think that it's kind of funny and silly as a 35-year-old man that I carry around a feeling wheel. And I there's no shame in that. I'm not ashamed of that. I talk about the feeling wheel quite a bit. Again, I try to pass it along to as many guys as I possibly can because it has served such an amazing purpose, and as an amazing tool in my life and my recovery, that the feeling wheel's here to stay. It's been here. It's been the most constant tool, other than probably phone calls and connection, like the feeling wheel. And I do a really good job of being able to name my emotions. And I talked about this recently around, like, there was a point in time where I thought that because I could name my emotions and my feelings, that was the same as feeling them, when in reality they were not. Like, I was playing myself. Oh yeah, I can name my emotions. Well, I wasn't feeling them. So, now I'm kind of in that space of, okay, yes, I can name them. I can give you 3. I can tell you how I'm feeling, but also too, I need to take the time to feel them as well. And sometimes that's just sitting as quietly and as still as possible with my hand on my chest, just kind of like, okay, what does this look like for me? Going in, and I've heard some different coaching. I've actually had this done on me before, where it was like, okay, what are you feeling? You're feeling fear, anxiety. Okay, go inside. Take a look at that. What does that look like? What does that look like? Is there a color? Does it look like my inner child? What are they trying to tell you? What are they trying to tell you? And just kind of like sitting with that, and trying to love that part of you, right? And that's something that I really try to do when I'm feeling anxious, is just telling myself, like, Alex, I love that part of you, because that part of me that's feeling this way is trying to tell me something that's going on, trying to protect me. Again, no negative feelings. It's there to protect me, to show me something that's going on. And it's my job as an adult, parenting myself, to see that and act accordingly. And again, sometimes that is just sitting in it. Sometimes there are actions that I can take, yes. Sometimes it's just sitting in it. And that's something that I need to be reminded of, just in my day-to-day life, because I can be so busy that, a lot of times my anxiety doesn't come out until it's bedtime, or I'm laying in bed, because throughout my day, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, throughout my day, I almost don't give myself the time to sit in those feelings. Like, yeah, I see them pop up, and maybe I'll make a phone call about them and talk about them. But am I really giving them the time that I need to feel them? And so it's almost like at the end of my day is when I have time to sit quietly with myself. And then that's when a lot of anxiety comes out in me, is like that end of that day, like laying in bed, just kind of reflecting on the day, and then the anxiety will kind of pop up. And that's kind of when I try to take the time to sit and just love myself. Because, whatever arises, love that. I deserve more love, not less. You deserve more love, not less. So we start again, I'm the feeling wheel guy in the treatment center. I am always reminding clients, hey, bring your feeling wheel, bring your feeling wheel. Hey, and if you don't bring it, I've got extras. I keep that thing on me. And so I'm always constantly making extras, and I've got a whole folder full in my backpack at any given time. And so we start, every group that I lead with, okay, guys, we're going to go around the room. I want you to say your name, and I want you to give me 3 feelings. And they can be conflicting. That's okay. So everybody goes around the room. They say their name. One, that helps me learn their names, because I'm given, these groups are anywhere from like 20 to 26, 27 people. So it helps me learn their names. And, the thing about feelings too is, like, it's vulnerability, it's intimate. Sharing feelings with people, that's intimacy. That is one aspect of intimacy. That's that emotional, mental intimacy, is like sharing how I'm feeling, and the other person allowing me that space to just tell them how I'm feeling. Right. So as we go around the room, some people, take it seriously. Some people don't. And you can kind of, I can kind of tell who's taking it seriously and who's not. But, some of these, I love when they're real, because there's real emotions that come out that like I can feel, when someone talks about being confused or frustrated or stupid or inadequate, or insignificant, foolish, embarrassed, like, those are the ones that I can feel because I know what those feel like. And so, it's a way for everybody to open up, kind of let that guard down a little bit. Again, like this is what we have to do in recovery, whether you're in recovery for sexual addiction or you're in recovery for drugs and alcohol. There was a point in time in our lives where we didn't feel like we could share our feelings and our emotions with people around us. And so in recovery, this is what I have to do. And it's been a huge tool for me. And, and then I kind of go into this whole spiel around like, hey, I may have never walked a day in your shoes, and you have not walked a day in my shoes. Our experiences look different. But you know what's underneath those experiences? Feelings and emotions. That is what we can relate to as human beings. Okay. So when you decided to use again or go on that bender, what was the feeling? What were the feelings behind it? Oh, you were feeling lonely? I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like. I can relate to that. So this is how we relate to other people. If we can share our feelings and other people can share their feelings with us, this is how we relate to other people. And that, yeah, again, our experiences are different. Things have looked different. Our journeys have looked different. However, what's underneath are the feelings, and that is what I can relate to. And that is how we relate to each other. And so I really try to, drive that point home with them of like, hey, this is how we relate. And so it goes over really well. Again, I've got people that take their feelings wheel with them. And again, I love the feeling wheel. If you don't use one, I highly recommend using one. Hit me up. I can definitely email you a copy if you need one, but it's a simple Google search of, the feeling wheel. And actually the feeling wheel, they use a lot with kids. And so it's kind of cool. One of the clients in the treatment center said that she had taken, this is her second time in treatment, but she had taken the first one home and she had given it to her kid. And so her and her son were, talking about the feelings and how he just was like really good with it. And so I thought that was really special. People get a lot out of this. If you use this, like this is, again, as someone for so long that just stuffed things down and didn't know what I was feeling at any given time. Yeah, I could tell you maybe I was feeling, joyful, happy, sad, mad. It really wasn't even until I didn't even realize that like anxiety was a fear, or like on this one, confusion is fear. And it really makes sense. And there's almost like a light bulb that goes off in my head, or a sense of relief when I think I'm feeling one way, but then when I go in and put my finger on it, it's actually something different. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Again, there's like a relief that kind of comes from that for me. So that's one of the lessons that I teach. That's one of the groups is we talk about the feeling wheel and expressing these feelings and giving them space and then kind of thanking them. And then also too, I am not above sharing my feelings with people. So I'll go around and I'll share my feelings too. And normally there's some kind of anxiety in there for me. So I'll share then how I'm feeling as well. And realizing that, obviously I've come to see that, I've got some gifts as far as, one, being able to come on the podcast and just talk about what I've got going on, but also, standing in front of a group of people and, not necessarily feeling qualified, scared, like really anxious, like this, like going up in there. I mean, even coming on the podcast, like I was just in here, like I knew that I was coming on today, and I'm excited for it because I love recording. I love making content. Like I love putting this out there. I love doing the podcast. But like even today, I noticed so I knew I was coming in today. I knew I was recording. And then I came in, got everything set up. And the next thing you know, like I'm on my phone. And I'm just like doing anything that I can to like distract myself from like getting on and recording. And so there's still these nerves there for me, especially, doing the podcast, getting up and giving a group. Because, it's one of those things like you don't know how you're going to be taken. And for me, that's scary because I've lived so much of my life just like needing everyone's approval that if I don't get everyone's approval, then like I did something wrong. And that's not the case. And I need to push back on that. I need to challenge that. And one of the things that I say in my opening kind of little monologue of like introducing myself is like, hey, my name is Alex. I am in recovery. I'm a sex and cocaine addict. I've been in recovery for 3 years. I just hit 2.5 years sober from alcohol and cocaine. Womp, 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 womp. Still don't have the horns. One of these days. And basically saying, hey, like, this is a way of life for me. Like, I've been where you guys have been. I've been to treatment. Hey guys, I just want to take a minute to share something deeply personal and transformative in my journey of recovery. I've been where you might be right now, struggling with the weight of addiction and feeling lost. But there's a place that offered me a new beginning, a place I truly believe in. It's called Begin Again Institute. At Begin Again, they understand the deep-rooted trauma behind addiction. Their 14-day intensive program for men tackles the neurobiological aspects of addiction head-on. It's not just about breaking a habit. It's about understanding and healing the underlying trauma that formed it in the first place. And for those who have been impacted by betrayal, Begin Again extends care to partners of addicts too. Their partner support program is offered at no additional cost to the family and runs alongside the men's intensive. This program helps participants gain an understanding of the trauma they've experienced and sets them on their own path to healing. If you or someone you love are grappling with sexual addiction, pornography addiction, or intimacy issues, Begin Again Institute can be that pivotal step towards recovery and a new lease on life. Remember, you can't go back and change the past, but it's never too late to begin again. To learn more about their life-changing program, visit beginagaininstitute.com or call 720-776-9076 to reserve your spot in the next 2-week intensive. I promise, it'll be the best call that you ever make for yourself. Stay strong, keep fighting, and keep tuning in to No Lions Here for more conversations about recovery, resilience, and hope. I've been afraid, I've been cut off from the outside world, even though they've got it pretty good there. When I was in treatment, I didn't have a TV. I could not use the phone. I didn't have my cell phone. We were cut off for 2 weeks, no contact with the outside world. And here, they've got TVs, they can make phone calls. Like, so part of me sometimes is like, man, you guys got it really good here. Like, you guys got it really good here. They didn't have to make their own meals. Like 3 meals are provided a day. We had to cook our own food. We had to make our own breakfast, our own lunches. Like, luckily we had a guy in treatment, Logan, shout out to Logan, that was like, he worked in the restaurant business and was a chef at one point in time. So he made a lot of really good food for us. And it was just nothing but comfort food when I was in there. But I give this whole spiel of like, hey guys, like, not everybody's going to take something from this. Whatever I'm giving my group about, there may be, some of you may disagree with me. And you know what? That's fine. That's on you. That's not on me. I just ask that if you're not getting anything out of this, to please don't be disruptive. Please don't be disruptive. Like, I'm going to give you the respect. I would like that respect in return. And very much just trying to meet them with where they're at, not trying to talk down on them at all. Like, because I'm them. Like, I am them. And what's really cool too about sharing, the whole fact that like I'm a sex addict is it opens up their eyes to just another thing that we need to be careful of, right? Like, I mean, I've got plenty of friends in the program that were sober from drugs and alcohol for 20 plus years. And then next thing you know, oh, wait a second, like I've got a porn addiction, or, I've got, I'm a sex addict. So just showing them that like, hey, there's this thing out there, sexual addiction that looks very natural to us, very natural. We're sexual human beings. This is what men and women do. So, like, this is normal. And again, I've talked about this before, just how normalized porn usage is, objectification, lusting, random sex, anonymous hookups. Like, that's all just very normalized in today's society. And, as addicts, it's really easy for me to pick up anything that alters my mood, that gives me that hit. Sure, nothing is naturally as powerful as an orgasm. However, I will still find ways, whether online shopping, things like that, overeating, just eating in general. So, bringing that, and I've had plenty of people come up to me afterwards and be like, hey, man, I got some questions. What kind of meetings do you hit? What's the program that you're in? People are kind of amazed to find that there's like 12-step recovery for sexual addiction. And I'm really grateful that there is 12-step recovery for sexual addiction. Yeah, I wouldn't be where I'm at if there wasn't. So I'm really grateful for the program. And then what I'm able to do is then I'm able to give them literature. Hey, take this book, read it. It's not my job to say, hey, yeah, you are a sex addict. That's not my job. My job is to offer support and any resources that I can. So the resources that I have are my green book, my SAA green book, and then I have my SCA blue book, which is Sexual Compulsives Anonymous, which is the program that I am involved with here locally. And hey, read this book. There's some tests in those books. There's like 21 questions or whatever that basically like you get to ask yourself, and if the answer is yes to a lot of them, then you may be a sex addict. So I give them this literature, and if you have any questions, let me know. I'm more than willing to talk about this. And so there's a vulnerability there that I'm sharing with them of saying, hey, look, guys, I'm just like you. I'm not above you. I suffer as well. And here's what I can do. So I've been able to come up with, 4 or 5 solid, lesson plans that it's interesting though, because with just like the podcast. So when I come in here I don't plan for anything. I don't write anything down. Even when I have guests on, I don't, again, I truly believe that I have a gift here in this, and that like I can sit down on this microphone. And I mean, I've been talking for 37 minutes and I can just talk, and I can have conversations with people on here, and I can pull things out. And it's kind of like the same with the groups. Now, what I would like to eventually get into is a little bit more prep work, not only one with the podcast, also with my lesson plan. And I feel like that should help the anxiety levels. Again, they're not too high, especially on this new medication. They're not too high. However, like it's still there. And maybe because there's been nights where like it's Saturday night and I'm laying in bed going, I don't know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. And just the thoughts start spinning and the mind starts spinning and the tapes come into play of like, you're not doing enough. You're not good enough. You're going to fall flat on your face tomorrow. Like, I'm going to get in there and we're going to talk for 15 minutes and then I'm going to look around going, well, guys, we got an hour and 45 minutes. What do you guys want to talk about? There's definitely now that not so much now because again, I kind of have a lesson. I kind of have, okay, these are my topics. And okay, so I did this one last week. So now it's this one on the rotation. Okay, I know what I'm going to talk about. Okay, cool. So it's not so much that anymore, but earlier on, again, so there's that anxiety. And then there's also the frustration there of like, wow, I'm an intern, but I'm kind of being treated like an employee right now. And I'm just kind of being thrown in, like frustrating. On top of that, schedule change, right? Like was really used to this routine, this schedule of, okay, hey, Sundays, I come in and I do stuff on the podcast. So I'm interning Wednesday nights and Sundays. Wednesdays for a few hours, Sundays all day. So now you're throwing in this, okay, now I got to work on top of work because I'm still working my full-time job, still doing the podcast, obviously. So now I've got to throw in, I got to work 15 hours at the treatment center, which 15 hours is not that, it's not a whole lot. It's totally doable. But, just throw that in on top of, everything else that I'm trying to do right now. Well, and then you also, then you top that off with that frustration of feeling like, wow, I'm kind of being used in this situation. You're short-staffed. So now you're going to throw me in without any guidance or without any supervision. I don't know if this is right. And it definitely had me feeling a certain type of way. And so I had to check that. I talked about it. I talked about it for a few weeks actually with people around me and try to get some of their opinions. And some of their opinions were like, well, are you looking at this the right way? Like, this is kind of how things happen. Like, and I wanted to make sure that I was looking at this the right way. Because, I got to check my side of the street. What's my part in this? Am I making too much about this? Or is there a real concern here? And so finally, what I did was I took it to my professor. And I just said, hey, Dr. Swanky, I'm having some issues and I would like to talk about these. And I'm basically doing this to make sure I want to check myself here. Because if I'm thinking about this in the wrong way, please let me know. But I just said, hey, look, I'm really frustrated with my experience so far, and I'm still going to class as well. So in part of the classes, we're kind of sharing our experiences. And everybody else that I'm talking to is like, oh, I'm getting treated like a student and I'm always with my supervisor and I don't do anything unsupervised. And whereas I'm over here going, I feel like an employee. I do not feel like a student. I am not being supervised. What is going on? And so I had to take this to my professor and just say, hey, look, like I'm really frustrated with this. I want to make sure I'm viewing this in the right way. If I'm viewing this the right way, then like I need to know so that then I can correct myself because there's some stuff that I need to deal with then on this. Or, am I viewing this in the right way? Is this off? Is this not really how it's supposed to go? And my supervisor was like, Alex, your concerns are valid. You're not being supervised. You got thrown in. This is not what the program is about. And this is not how the program is supposed to operate. How would you like to move forward? And I felt really supported in that. I could have just stuffed that down and said, well, this is just the way it goes. So, all right, just suck it up, Alex. And so I'm really happy that, I stood up for myself and I went and asked her and she validated my concerns and said, okay, hey, how can I help? I can send them an email or basically just kind of outlining, hey, this is the program. Alex has some concerns. He doesn't feel like these are being hit. This is what he would like to see. Because, when I went in, they were like, oh, you're going to get to view all these different aspects. And when in reality, like, I'm not, there's really, I've kind of had to seek these things out now, which is fine. I have been able to do that. But there were definitely things that I wanted to see that I wasn't seeing that they told me that I was going to see. So it's like, okay. And I told her, I said, no, I don't want it to come from you. That to me feels like little boy hiding behind mom, like, yeah, go get him, mom. And like, I'm peeking around your leg. Like, like, I don't want to do that. I brought up the issues. I have feelings around this. I need to be an adult and take care of this. And she said, okay, hey, Alex, how about this? I will help you draft an email. I said, great. That sounds perfect. So her and I sat down and we drafted an email. And basically it was, I statements. I would like to see this. I feel like I'm not getting any experience in this area. Here are, the state's guidelines on what I need. I feel like I am not getting these things. How can we move forward to make sure that I get these things? And I kind of felt bad. I didn't tell my supervisor. And I really like my supervisor. I really like her. She's great. And I like the people that I work with there too. Like it is a good facility. And the people are great. I just feel like there was a disconnect between upper and kind of middle where I'm at. So, I reached out, I sent this email. I did feel a little bad that I didn't tell my supervisor about the email before I sent it. Now, after I sent it, I did call her. Actually, I did try calling her before I sent it, actually. And we weren't able to connect. So I sent it anyway. And then I was able to kind of talk to her. And she was actually like, Alex, I'm really proud of you you stood up for yourself. Like you needed something and you put it out there. We'll see what we can do to accommodate that. And so I definitely had an experience with expectations there as well. So we scheduled a phone call with me, my professor, my supervisor, and her supervisor. And now my part in this was like, yes, I feel like I'm not getting any expertise. I'm not getting any feedback on my groups. Nobody's sitting in on my groups. Like I'm not getting any kind of feedback. I'd love to get some feedback. I feel like I need some feedback here. Also, too, though, so part of this was like, hey, there's going to be some Sundays where like I don't come in. And I had asked for a Sunday off a week in advance. Well, I didn't really ask. I just kind of said, hey, I'm not going to be here. And they were kind of like, well, you're really leaving us in a tight spot. And it was, I was just kind of like, hold on a second. Like, I'm an intern here. Like, I understand that I can't necessarily like just come and go. However, at the same time, like it's really not my problem that you guys are short staffed and that, so part of this for the expectations for me was like, hey, sometimes I don't want to come in on Sundays. I'd rather come in on a Saturday and not come in on a Sunday. And so, during our And there were times where, like, I told my supervisor, "Hey, I'm not coming in on a Sunday," but then that was never relayed to her boss. So then there were just some communication issues there. And so part of this phone conversation that I had to have with all these people, like, they were like, "Okay, hey, Alex, like, we hear you. Thank you for bringing these up. This is what we can do moving forward. We're going to have somebody sitting in on your groups to give you feedback. Okay, hey, you want to see more one-on-one coaching stuff? Okay, cool. We can accommodate that on Wednesday nights. We've got somebody that's staying late that you can." Okay, awesome. And then I was like, all right. And so I don't know. I guess part of an expectation there was like, I really don't want to come in on Sundays anymore. But basically, it came down to, hey, still come in on Sundays. If you want to switch any dates, that's fine with us. Just let us know, like a week in advance, and we can go from there. And okay, you know what? I felt heard. I felt like, okay, hey, we can change some things up, and we're going to do some things differently for you, Alex. We still have a business to run, so we're going to run it, because again, it's not all about me. And that's one of the things that I need to keep in check, is that it's not all about me. They're trying to run a business, a program, like, what? Okay, let me do my part in this. What's my part in this? And my part in this is the expectations, and, not so much that king baby, woe is me. Well, I don't want to come in on a Sunday. Alex, this is a temporary thing. Part of this is hey man, you're going to have to, like, just kind of sacrifice right now. And I kind of knew that going in, but this really kind of brought that out in me of like, oh, yeah. Life's all about sacrifices, and sometimes you just have to sacrifice. But I will say, though, after that meeting, again, feeling heard, that was back in March, early March, we'd had that conversation, and I felt a whole lot better, and then just around, the mood, the shift in perspective around just the bitterness that I've been holding on to. Because again, that frustration turned into a resentment towards some people at the treatment center. And man, when I live in that place of resentment and bitterness, watch out. Watch out. I was playing the victim. I totally was. And I need to push back on that. Anytime that pops up, like, I need to push back on that, because that leads me down. That leads me straight into my middle circle and then into my inner circle. And so when I had the shift of that victim mentality, that bitterness, those resentments that I was holding on to, I was kind of able to let go of that frustration, and realizing too that, like, it was not the treatment center's job to fix my frustration. It's my job. And how can I fix that frustration? Well, by changing my perspective. By, okay, God, help me view this in a different light. And so now the new light is, and the new light's been there for, about last month and a half, is like, I get to go and do this. I have an opportunity to go in and, have a, sorry, my phone was ringing. I normally turn that off. I get to go in and I get to have this experience, and I get to help people, and, like, wow, look at the opportunities, turning them into being grateful for these opportunities, and not, I don't want to do this sacrifice, I'm frustrated, which is totally what goes on in my head. And I'm being a little dramatic here. I need to be careful with the tones that I use when sharing some of my stuff, because it can be very shaming. Like that right there, when I do that, yeah, I'm trying to prove a point, but I need to be careful with that, because that can turn into shame and guilt pretty quickly for me. So, but yeah, I feel a lot better. And, I shared, at the beginning of the episode was, I'm at 195 hours. Again, I've got 105 hours to go. I'm 2/3 of the way through. I think that maths. Math is not my strong suit, but if I have 300 hours that I have to get to, and I've got 200 of the 300, I think that's 2/3. Again, I don't math a whole lot. I think that maths, though. I think we're good there. And if we are, don't at me in the comments. So, and so that's just kind of even more amped me up. Like, all right, cool. Like, I'm almost done. And man, I'm getting a lot out of this. Like, I give my number to all the guys that leave the treatment center. I give my number to all the guys. I don't give it to the females. While I interact with the females in there, it's not, because like there have been some that have been triggery. I'll be honest. Like, and I do a good job of conducting myself in a professional manner, and knowing that like that's not a line that I want to cross. Like if I cross that line, not only is the internship done, but I'm out of this program, and I will not be becoming a certified recovery coach. And that means more to me than anything else right now. So like I give my number to guys, and there's a couple guys that I stay in contact with, and it's just, I was in there, and I was talking to like one of the higher ups there. He's like the director of operations or something along those lines. And so whenever I got into this program and I started sharing in my meetings that like, hey, I'm going to be doing this and I'm really excited for this, one of the older guys kind of pulled me to the side and was like, hey man, just so you know, like you cannot replace this. You cannot put this in place of your own recovery, right? Like you still have your own recovery that you need to take care of. But hey, like working in the treatment center is not your recovery. And I totally, I appreciated that. And I saw that, and, he's totally right. Like I have my own recovery that I need to take care of. And well, then I was in this meeting with this higher up at the treatment center a couple weeks back, and he was just checking in on me. How are things going? And, he was very much like, this is not service work. This is not. And I was kind of like, hold on a second. Like, I totally understand that, like, this is not how I get my recovery needs met, right? I still got to hit my own meetings. I still got to make my phone calls to my people. I still need to be checking in myself, doing the things that I need to do. However, this is service work because I am coming in and I am being of service and helping. And I get a lot out of that. When I go into the treatment center, it's not about me. It's about them. And yeah, I've got knowledge and I share my journey and my experience and, with the hopes that they get something out of that. If one person gets something out of my group, then my job is done. Kind of like the same with the podcast, the podcast. If one person gets something out of this, my job's good to go. My job's done. And I know that more than one people will, but it's just, it's that simple. So going into the treatment center, like it is kind of being of service. When I make these phone calls to these guys, checking in on them, they're fresh out of treatment. They need support more than I need support. So let me make this about them. And that's like what service is, right? Like making it about them and not about me. I'm not calling them to get my needs met. I've got people that I can call to get my needs met. I'm trying to be there and show up for them. And so it in my opinion, in my view of it, it totally is service work. And again, I know that I have my own recovery that I need to take care of, and I do. And I can also go in and be of service at the treatment center. And so So yeah, it's been, again, I've made some really good connections, and people seem to get a lot out of. I recently did like an inner child group education, and that one was heavy. However, like people really got a lot out of it. I do the feeling wheel, and then with the feeling wheel, I pair positive belief inventory. You know, going in and doing an inventory on the positive things about us. I also do a spirituality where we talk about, I share that, religion is for people that are afraid to go to hell, and spirituality is for those who have been there and don't want to go back. I still love that. That clip on YouTube actually got the highest views that I've gotten, and also the most comments that I've gotten. People were not sure how to feel about that, and I need to not worry about what people say. It makes sense to me. That's not a new saying. That saying's been around for a very long time. So I do spirituality, and then I pair that with like physical, or mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual wellness. What are we consuming? I also do like some aftercare stuff. Okay, what does an aftercare look like for people that get out of treatment? You need to be hitting meetings. You need to find a sponsor. And then I recently kind of started doing an inner child one, and now I'm in a groove of like, okay, I know what I'm doing. So like tomorrow we're starting back at the top, and I'm getting back into the feeling wheel and positive belief inventory. And so I'm really excited. And what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to try and I did it a little earlier in this episode of like, okay, hey, pick out that uncomfortable feeling. We're going to close our eyes. Look, and if you don't feel like doing this, please just close your eyes, and please just don't be disruptive. But let's look at that feeling. What does that feeling look like? What color does it? What does it look like? Does it look like a child? Does it look like a shape, a color? Okay, now I want you to love that, embrace that feeling, embrace that uncomfortable feeling, and let's see what happens. I haven't done anything like that yet, and I'm kind of really excited to get in and kind of play with it a little bit tomorrow. So really looking forward to that. We also, we kind of go around the room. We do our 3 readings out of the AA book, and just, the meditations for the day, and then we share our thoughts and feelings on it. So I'm definitely like I'm in a routine now. I'm in a groove with the things, but again, it started with a lot of frustration, a lot of confusion, anxiety. It was really heavy feelings early on that kept me kind of locked in bitterness and resentment. And now I get to look at it and say, wow, look at the opportunity that I get to have. I have an opportunity to go in and affect people. And I have a gift with this stuff. And so it's been going really well. And, kind of coming full circle, I don't know what I want to do with this once I get my certification. I don't know if I want to approach this treatment center and say, hey, I'd like to work for you guys. I really don't know. And, it's one of those things where I don't have to know, right? It's okay that I'm sitting here today with 100 hours left on my internship to sit here and say, guys, I don't know what I'm going to do with this after I get certified. I don't know. And that is okay. I am at peace with that. I'm okay with that. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. As human beings, we don't have to have all the answers. It's okay to not know. What I do know, though, is that I have faith that God is going to lead me where he needs me. Ooh, God is going to lead me where he needs me. I like that. God is going to lead me where he needs me. And that if I look back at my life over the last 3 years, I know that God is involved. I know that. I have faith. I believe that God is going to take care of me. And that God is going to put me in the right spot at the right time. And it's not up to me. All that I can do is pray about it and talk about it, and see what comes up. So that's what I do know. I do know that I have faith in my higher power, and I believe in my higher power that just like this podcast, with this certification, God's going to lead me to where I need to be. He really is. And that's actually like really comforting, because I don't have to figure it out right now. I don't have to figure it all out right now. And that's really special. It's a really special place to be, when you can actually like feel that, and not just know it, but I can feel it. That is a feeling of faithful, confident, confident. I'm confident in my abilities. I'm confident in my God. Hopeful as well. Aware. All the good feelings there. All the good feelings. On that note, guys, we're going to end the episode. Again, thank you so much for just joining me on my journey. It means so much to me. I am taken aback at the love and support that I've gotten. And I recently shared a clip on my personal Facebook page, and that was a little nerve-wracking. I've been talking about that with Kyle for a while now, of, wanting to put it out there more and really pushing it. And, I didn't share the name of the episode, or I didn't share the name of the podcast. I didn't put anything in there around like sexual addiction. It was just kind of like a clip. Here's a clip. This was something I've been doing. I've been working on this platform. I mean, it's not new. This platform's not new to me. I've been doing this for two and a half years. This is not longer than that. But I got a lot of really good support, and I think that I'm going to start sharing more and more. And some people reached out, and so I've sent I have a feeling I'm going to get some more listeners out of this. More people that, hopefully I can inspire and motivate, because that's what this is about. It's not about me and look at me. I want the attention. Look at the good I'm doing. Like, I want to inspire people. I want to motivate and inspire and let people know that, like, hey, you are not alone in whatever it is that you're dealing with. Reach out. You're not alone. So I'll definitely keep you guys updated on that. As always, guys, definitely go check out our socials: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. It's all No Lions Here. YouTube, No Lions Here. Spotify, No Lions Here. Definitely go check us out. If there's any topics or any feedback, or anything like that, or you want to connect, please feel free to email me, nolionshere@gmail.com. Again, that is nolionshere@gmail.com. As always, guys, thank you so much for joining me on my journey. And always remember, keep coming back. It works if you work it, and you're worth it. I'll see you guys next time.